This week, Star Wars dropped an insane new trailer for the completely unannounced Star Wars action-adventure video game, Star Wars Eclipse. There's a lot going on in the trailer. There's multiple factions, Prometheus Voldemort-style aliens who like EDM, starships, the Trade Federation, Baron Harkonnen from Dune, and most importantly, an actual eclipse. Who would have thought? It's an exciting trailer, but what excites me most is that it's setting up something that I think Star Wars has been desperately missing. An opportunity for a whole new era of Star Wars stories and the chance for Star Wars to finally grow beyond the films and TV shows we currently know. Hey, I'm Dylan and welcome to YubNub. Not much is really known about Star Wars Eclipse yet, but what we do know is that it's an action-adventure game made by Quantic Dream with multiple characters, branching storylines and different endings, all set in the outer rim of the galaxy in a fairly new era of the Star Wars saga, the High Republic. All of this is set roughly 200 years before Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and it's a time of expansion for the peace-loving galaxy as political tension starts to heat up in the Outer Rim. It's also the prime of the Jedi, so a time when Jedi are serving as guardians of the Outer Rim and wearing gold sashes for some reason. Now, I love a gold sash as much as the next guy, but what's got me really excited about this trailer isn't just the graphics or the epicness, but it's this new setting. Because with this new era is an opportunity for all kinds of Star Wars stories that don't have to rely on the characters or films that have come before it, which is really important if Star Wars is actually going to grow both as a franchise and as a story world. I think it's fair to say, but since Disney bought Lucasfilm in 2012, they've played things pretty safe. If you look at the roster of films, TV shows and video games created over the last 9 years, besides a few notable exclusions, it's clear that all of these projects are dependent on either their attachment to pre-existing characters or to the original Star Wars films. It's clear that business won out over creativity over the last decade, as Disney obviously made a concentrated decision to invest in ideas that they believed were low risk. And by that, I mean ideas that would be guaranteed to attract a huge audience and bring back the audience of older fans that hated the prequels.
Thumbs way down.
You didn't like it?
No, I think I deserve a public apology from George Lucas.
But now, with the announcement of Star Wars Eclipse, it feels like Lucasfilm are finally ready to start moving in a new direction and step away from the original films and the Skywalker story. And that's important, because you see, like any fantasy world like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, Star Wars is a universe of opportunities. And as a die-hard Star Wars fan, I want to see those opportunities explored. You see, for me as a young kid, the Star Wars films captured my imagination. But it was the expanded universe of books, comics, and games that really broadened my imagination and really made the universe come to life for me, because they didn't have to follow the same rules that the films did. You know, they could go in all kinds of directions and follow all sorts of characters. Because in the films, everything always followed the Skywalkers. But suddenly outside of that, anything was a possibility, and it broadened my scope and understanding of the Star Wars universe. You know, what did it look like to be an undercover Imperial agent, or a Rogue Squadron fighter pilot, or a doctor in a Clone Wars battle situation, or, you know, like a green bunny looking bounty hunter? Because, you know, they weren't all good, okay? But still, when at its best, the expanded universe was able to tell stories that the films weren't. But now, with projects like Star Wars Eclipse, I can't help but feel that that's changing. You know, in the landscape of video games and Disney Plus series, suddenly there's room to tell these different or interesting or off-center stories that we wouldn't usually see on screen without them having to have a connection to some of the original films or pre-existing characters. And here's the thing, if Star Wars is going to be a forever brand, they need to do that. And what better way to do that than a time jump? You see, it's not the first time that Star Wars has made the decision to jump a century or two. In 2003, I was a prepubescent lady killer. And at the time, the prequel films were coming to an end, and to be honest, Star Wars as we knew it was coming to an end, with the saga films all wrapping up. At that point, the expanded universe had already expanded well beyond Return of the Jedi, with Luke and the gang taking on every single dark side villain, Imperial warlord, and super weapon you can imagine. Like, there was a lot. So LucasArts decided to do something fresh and take a risk, teaming up with video game developer BioWare to create what's now known as the iconic Star Wars video game, Knights of the Old Republic. Knights of the Old Republic is an RPG set in the middle of a Jedi and Sith war, where you play as your own custom Jedi character with a lost memory as he attempts to make either light side or dark side choices on the quest to taking down Sith Lord Darth Malak. It was, and still today is, one of the best games ever produced, not just one of the best Star Wars games ever produced, and was widely applauded by everyone. And the reason wasn't just because they made a fun or exciting game with great combat or whatever, it's because they created an incredible story. It presented entirely new conflict, characters, environments, but with the same recognizable themes of the Star Wars films. It just felt like Star Wars. You know, a big epic good versus evil hero's journey story, but with fresh challenges and a small group of characters that you love. And that's what made it feel so Star Wars. It was these big questions and these big themes and these big moral or political problems, but at the heart of it, this small crew of characters that you love spending time with. And that's why I'm so excited for Star Wars Eclipse, because just like what KOTOR did in 2003, it has the opportunity to take what we love about Star Wars, but present it in a completely fresh way. And from the trailer, it seems to be doing that. I love that we're seeing multiple factions, the Trade Federation, Yoda on his lonesome. It's full of intrigue, mystery, political conflict. It seems to me like we're gearing up for this kind of unexpected war that the Jedi aren't ready for, and I'm pumped. I love that we're getting something original, and that's what's possible in a new era of storytelling. By jumping back 200 years, suddenly the creators of the game have freedom, and they have the opportunity to do something different without running the risk of shitting on pre-existing characters. It's this weird thing as a die-hard fan, because on one hand, you want them to honor what's come before, but at the same time, you don't want them to replicate what's come before. And that's the thing, I've got no interest in seeing the same story being told over and over again. And by jumping back in time, Quantic Dream have the chance to explore new ideas with less pressure and take risks without the fear of completely alienating an audience. But not only is this game a new opportunity for storytelling, it's also an opportunity for Star Wars fans to have their understanding and expectations of the Star Wars universe broadened. Because you see, when KOTOR came out, video games aren't what they are now. Today, when a new video game like this drops, it's the equivalent of a blockbuster movie. So considering Disney's history with Star Wars so far, this is a really big flippin' deal, because this is a background side story getting put in the spotlight, and its potential success has the opportunity to broaden Star Wars stories for the future. See, I'm a massive fan of Star Wars books and comics, but I get that that isn't for everyone. Not everyone's got the time to sit down and read a Star Wars book or a comic series or something like that. But a top tier AAA video game, that's a completely different story. A lot of people are going to play this game, and that's going to completely expand their understanding of the scope of what Star Wars stories can look like. And that's really exciting, because not only will that broaden what we see from the High Republic era, but I really believe it's going to change the Star Wars stories that we're going to see going forward. And don't get me wrong, I love many of the Star Wars stories that we get to see, but I'm excited for that peak creativity that we saw in the expanded universe. Let's see something different. Let's see House of Cards, but it's Star Wars. Let's see a comedy in the Star Wars universe. I want to see more from Star Wars, and I feel like Star Wars Eclipse is just opening the door for that opportunity. The trailer for Star Wars Eclipse looks epic, both as a video game, but also for its potential for the franchise. This is a game that might not only change video games, but could change the future of Star Wars stories going forward. And in my opinion, that's a good thing, because if Star Wars truly is going to be a brand that lasts for 100 years, it's going to have to expand beyond what we know of it. What do you think? Are you as excited as I am for Star Wars Eclipse? Do you want to see more in the High Republic era, or what kind of weird side stories do you want to see in video games or on screen? I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.